Hello, 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 everyone. It's me, Josie, coming on live inside our group for the Friday freebie. This is called the 4 Steps Towards Brave Authenticity. There's actually steps that you can take to develop the more brave, courageous, authentic version of you. And I'm going to share with you today. I mentioned that there's work going on in my house, so I took you outside today, and I'm at the beach here in Alameda, California. It's a lovely fall day. And if you're joining me live, say hello. If you're on replay, give me a hashtag replay. This is going to be interactive. I actually have in these 4 steps an inquiry or a question for you that'll help you engage with the content and really evaluate where your energy is best spent as you're ever evolving and becoming the brave version of you. Does that sound good? Let's dive in. Okay, so step 1 towards being bravely you is perhaps the most important one. It is becoming eminently self-aware. It is knowing who you are, what your strengths are, what your gorgeous, brilliant, natural gifts are, the way that you tend to hold yourself back. It's understanding the way that you have the easiest, most impact in the world. And it's knowing that about yourself and really celebrating it, like being able to comfortably claim it and own it and feel proud of who you are. Not to feel tormented by thinking you need to be different or better or more or improved or somehow altered. The very first step to becoming bravely authentically you is to already know who you are, to have that self-awareness. When you don't have that, you feel unmoored. You feel adrift. You don't feel plugged in. You don't feel like you're really powerfully being utilized in your own life. You sort of feel numb or stuck or adrift, I like to say. And it's uncomfortable. And it can be feeling like on autopilot. So you want to have self-awareness because without it, you're not really in full agency. You're not really moving with a sense of self-authority, with self-authorship, with writing your own story and knowing, the direction you want your life to go. So as I'm describing the very first step of authentically being bravely you, if you're joining me live, you can type it in the chat. If you're joining on replay, you can write step 1. And I want to have you give yourself just a little grade, not to shame yourself or to overly be judgy of yourself, but if you were to do sort of like red light, green light, yellow light, are you really very self-aware and you know what your natural gifts are and your strengths and you enjoy the unique way in which you move in the world, then you're a green light. If you're not quite sure or if you think this is really an area that's stuck for you, then you might be yellow or red. I'd love to see, what kind of assessment do you give yourself? Again, without shaming yourself or blaming yourself or feeling, wrong or needing to get down on yourself. It's good just to be aware of your awareness. So do you have that clarity and confidence and empowered sense of you? Let me know. Okay, so moving to the second quadrant of what I think it takes, the second step, to really bravely inhabit your own authentic version of yourself, to become authentically you, to feel brave and courageous. This might be surprising. The second step or the second skill that I prescribe is being like self-supporting. It's actually, because once we actually show up and we're vulnerably being ourselves, we're showing up with all of our gifts, we're owning what we're good at, we're very clear-eyed about what isn't in our natural zone of brilliance, what often happens is we get triggered and we feel nervous and we feel exposed and we can feel knocked back. We can have a central nervous response that is like anxiety or worry, or it just takes us off of our game. So the second step that I recommend for us to be able to bravely inhabit who we are and stand authentically in the world after knowing ourselves is to support ourselves, to have a self-support system, to be resilient, to be able to bounce back from distressing experiences, to be able to handle the range of emotions and have our own back emotionally and in our central nervous system. It's being able to recover from difficult experiences and feel like we're on solid ground, that we have our own back. Without this, you're reactionary. Without a strong support, inner support network, you're sort of reacting and responding to stress all the time. And it makes you ineffective. It makes you nervous and energetically spent. So you want to be self-supported because you want to feel composed and calm and collected and energized. You want to feel clear and like you know that you're on track and that you're not at loose ends. So let me know if you're tracking in the second sphere of becoming authentically, bravely you. After the first is being self-aware, the second is being self-supported. It's being able to say, I know me and I got me. In terms of I got me, give me an assessment of how you feel like you're doing in this realm with, is it red light, yellow light, or green light? And then moving along, the third of the four steps that I want to share with you today about being bravely you and showing up authentically in the world, courageously, is all about then managing yourself. This is the realm of like, okay, now what? Now how do I move in the world? How do I take action in the world without dogging myself with these negative tendencies, these reactive tendencies that we develop, like perfectionism or procrastination or overly people-pleasing and worrying what other people think, or really judging ourselves and falling prey to imposter syndrome. The third quadrant of like, how do I lead myself in the world? If the first is I know me and the second is I got me, the third is I lead me. How do I lead in the world? How confident and clear do I feel about the actions I take without falling into defensiveness, without over-activating the inner critic, without feeling like I need to be perfect and putting myself on overdrive, without overworking to exceed expectations? How do I lead me? How do you feel in that realm? If you're carrying on with the self-evaluation, if you're thinking that you're really strong in this area, you give yourself a green light. If you're like, sometimes good, sometimes not so good, it's yellow. If you feel like you really need help in this area, it'd be a red light. And this is not to judge yourself or gaslight yourself or make yourself feel bad and wrong. We already do enough of that already. It's just to be very objective to see, where am I leaking energy? Where could I be stronger and stop up some of those gaps? Where do I need to focus? So it's sort of an assessment that we're doing today. Okay, so to recap so far, we've done 3 out of the 4. We've talked about step 1 is I know me. I'm self-aware. I know what I'm good at. I know what my brilliant natural strengths are, and I like that about me. I can champion myself. I can feel strong and secure about my gifts, and I can mitigate some of my reactive tendencies. I can not feel dogged by the things that I don't know. I know me and I like me, right? That's the self-awareness piece. That's 1. The second is self-supporting. It's being able to handle yourself with a wide emotional range and be able to be resilient and bounce back emotionally from challenging experiences, to have your own back, to have the skill to be able to self-support. The third is how you lead yourself, right? How you take action in the world, bravely being seen, how you show up, how you deal with defensiveness or nervousness or self-doubt without spinning into those reactive tendencies that I mentioned, like perfectionism and people-pleasing and imposter syndrome. And then the fourth is in how do you lead others? How capable do you feel in the realm of then bravely interacting with others to resolve conflict, to clarify misunderstandings, to make a bold request for what you want, to hold a boundary? How are you in that exchange when you're standing in your own power and interacting with other people? How do you motivate people? How do you communicate and relate interpersonally with people? How do you get other people? How do you persuade people? Not manipulate them, but how do you make a case for what you want and stand for yourself? How do you lead others with your voice? How do you ask for what you want? This is this fourth realm called I lead others. So it's I know me, I got me, I lead me, and then I lead others. I lead interpersonally. I show up in the world. Whether or not I have a traditional leadership title, or if I even work outside the home, or even if I have a job, I'm always leading myself and leading others through my actions, my speech, my behavior. So if you were to give yourself a grade on how you feel about your brave authenticity, standing in your power in your interpersonal relationships, the fourth quadrant, do you give yourself a red light, yellow light, or a green light? Okay, all of this is not meant for you to get into self-judgment or for you to feel bad about where you are in your development journey. It's actually just to have a clear-eyed, objective view of what's going well, and an assessment of where you'd like to spend more energy, or where you'd like to stop up some energy leaks, where you'd like to grow, where your focal points are. So we're just being objective and curious as we're assessing the four realms that it takes to become truly empowered and bravely you. Now, it's not easy to teach yourself how to do all of these things. Sometimes we need to get out of our own perspective and have an outside perspective, and that's why I show up in this group as a coach and a leader and a teacher and a trainer, and hopefully an inspired thought provider. That's my goal. But if it's something that you want to take one step further, if you feel like you want to really onboard those 4 steps in your life, if you want mentorship and coaching, if you want the lessons underneath how to eradicate unhelpful reactive tendencies like people pleasing, like imposter syndrome, like perfectionism, like procrastination, if you want help with how you self-support and how you rebound emotionally, if you want to know what you're meant to be and do and have in this world, if you want to know what your real purpose is, that is what I do. So if this resonates for you, give me a high five, give me a hey. And if you'd like to come closer, come on over to my website, www.joeleader.com/connect. I'm all about connecting. You can book a free call with me where we can get to know each other in real life, and I can hear what's going on for you and what you feel like you need. I can share with you how I work with clients to help them realize all of these areas in their life to stop up their leaky bucket, their energetic leaks, and grow their leadership and their confidence. And it's just a lovely exchange to be able to have. So you can come closer. You can come find me at joeleader.com/connect. Give you a little bit of a view before I say farewell. This has been live coming at you from Alameda, California. And that's what I got for you today. Go well.